Hey everybody, Chuck Barone here. It is Thursday, August the 24th, 2003. Another crazy day on Wall Street as we count down to 0 hour, which is about 7 in the morning Pacific time tomorrow when Powell will give his speech at this Jackson Hole symposium. The market now kind of feeling like, obviously Powell might sound a little bearish tomorrow, market scared. Having a pretty crummy day across the board today. Before I get rolling on the show though, let me welcome everybody as always and thank everybody for their support. You guys showing up every day, watching these videos, you're hitting me up in the comments with your questions and fun jibes. It keeps us coming every day, guys. We appreciate your support very, very much. All right, so let's talk about these crazy markets today. So, a couple of pieces of data coming out today, mainly the unemployment numbers. Factory orders ticking up. But the big thing on the entire market's mind right now is, of course, Powell's speech tomorrow. It's going to be a big one, guys. The market's not really sure what to expect from Powell tomorrow. The market's had its own idea of what's coming next, as we've been talking about on the show a lot. The market feeling like the Fed's done raising rates. This inflation fight is pretty much over now. We're going to get down to that 2% target. We're going to do it with a soft landing, no recession. Everything's just going to be perfect and wonderful and happen just exactly the way they plan. Well, I'm getting to be an old fart here, and I got to say, I've never seen it actually happen that way. You know what they say about the best laid plans, right, guys? So anyway, the markets today kind of now getting a little bit fearful, right, about what Powell might have to say tomorrow, what's coming next from the Fed. So the market's having a little temper tantrum today, selling off pretty robustly. The Dow falls 373 points, sitting at 34,099. The S&P, the broader market, falls 59 points, sitting at 4376. And the NASDAQ down 257 points, 13,463. So the brunt of it obviously taken here by the Dow, but big numbers across the board down. Boom, boom, boom. NASDAQ. The markets have been pretty much trading sideways for a little while now, but the way they react to the data every day, it's just really something to see, isn't it, guys? And this bond market, another wild day on the bond market. So the 10-year, now remember, bonds are kind of weird, right? So when prices go down, the yield goes up. When prices go up, demand, yields come down. So today, down day for bonds, but prices coming down, but yields spiking up again. The 10-year up 4 basis points, sitting at 4.24%. The 2-year back up above 5, jumping 7 basis points today, 5.02%. Wow. Big numbers on bonds. The inversion still there, predicting recession. But this bond market's been wacky. Can't figure it out. One day it feels like the worst is over. The market jumps. Yields come down. The next day, oh crap, we were wrong. Boom, sell off. I guess probably prudent for traders today to be selling bonds into the uncertainty of what Powell's going to say tomorrow. But it's going to be a fascinating day in this bond market tomorrow, depending on what comes out of Powell's mouth. Now, the market will already be open for a little while before he speaks, but as the speech is happening, you can watch the ticker running across the bottom of the screen. It's going to be fun to watch that ticker change as Powell delivers his message, right? The dollar today, with higher rates being thought possible, the dollar today up back above 104 on the index, man. So the dollar strong, not much real news there, just this whole higher rate scenario powering the dollar up. Stronger dollar always means tough times for gold and silver, but gold eking out a small gain today, up $1.10, $1,916.50 for an ounce of gold. Silver falls 19 cents, $24.11 for an ounce of silver. Still good, strong prices for metals, and they will rally when the dollar comes back down to earth, which it inevitably will. Oil today, down very small, just down 6 cents per barrel, sitting at $78.83 per barrel. I've been telling you guys, oil seems to be most comfortable trading between 70 and 75. It had that big spike up to 86 and kind of held there for a little bit. We were looking at maybe we need to change the way we're looking at oil. But no, it seems like now it's falling right back down. And will soon, I guess, would be, well, my thinking is it will soon be right back in that trough between 70 and 75. Bitcoin today, a little more fear, riskier asset, higher rates. Bitcoin sells off today, minus $619, sitting at $26,020 right before we went on and taped this show. All right, so let's talk about news you guys need to hear today. Just a couple of things. First of all, the employment numbers. That was the data we were looking for today. They were expecting claims to come in at 240,000. Nope. Numbers still showing strong labor. Claims coming in at 230,000, down around 10,000 from last week, beating their expectations by 10,000. So there we go, man. Labor's still strong. Now, we need, obviously the Fed, and they've made it very clear that this employment situation here in this strong labor market is one of the reasons they believe this inflation hasn't come down all the way yet. They would like to see unemployment a little bit higher, which is crazy, but it's true. They would like to see claims coming in at around 285 or higher. That shows a contracting job market. That's where they want to be. So far, the market resisting that. So now you got an unemployment rate sitting at 3.5%, a strong labor market, and now you got inflation coming down, although let's see I wish I could really get an idea of what the exact real numbers were, because it changes from place to place in this country. Most people are really seeing inflation, A, at the gas pump, B, in the supermarket, also power bills and rents going up like crazy, and none of that stuff seems to be coming down. It's just not going up anymore, right? But strong labor, falling inflation, at least that's what they say. Now they're talking the mythical soft landing again. Soft landing. Now remember, guys, I've always told you, try to create the visual, right? When you picture soft landing, when they say the word soft landing, picture the Hindenburg exploding into flames. Because that's usually what these soft landings turn out to be. Anyway, so labor still strong. Now, before I get into Powell, I want to talk a little bit about real estate. What on earth is happening with real estate in this country? So, I was reading an article today. They're saying experts now, with rates passing 7% on mortgages, are finally predicting a big housing price correction. Some saying prices could come down as much as 25%. Now, it's based on, of course, massively sky-high prices for houses, combined with massively sky-high rates for mortgages, basically pricing out all first-time buyers. Very, very difficult for first-time buyers to buy a house right now. Payments exceeding $2,500 to $3,000 a month on just a very basic home purchase, not unless you're coming in with a big amount of money down, which most people don't. Now, I've talked about real estate extensively on the show. You guys know I'm a mortgage broker. Real estate is what I've been doing for almost 30 years now. I'm telling you guys, this idea that prices are going to come down, I talked about it on the show. I really thought that the median price in Vegas was around $440. I thought that was way too high. Now, this is when prices were sitting at 6% mortgage rates. I thought, $440 was just way too high here in Vegas. I thought prices would come down. I thought they would settle around $350, which I thought was fair market, would create a reasonable payment for first-time buyers at 6% where they could buy into this market. Well, prices did come down here in Vegas, down to they bottomed out around $415,000. And then turned right back around and marched right back up and now sitting about $460,000. And I tell you, the culprit for this is a very simple one. The Federal Reserve lowered rates after the pandemic, creating 3% mortgages. People took advantage of that. If mortgage payment is typically most people's biggest bill payment they got to make every month, so they could reduce that substantially. They do and did. Well, now those same people don't want to sell their houses and give up their 3% mortgage to buy a new house with a 6 or 7% mortgage. So there's no supply of existing houses to be out there. The houses that are considered starter houses, the smaller 3-bedroom, 2-bath, 2-car garage starter house, the basic routine unit, competition for those, competing bids. So now now we're into the situation where we could be seeing bidding wars again for starter houses. Builders taking advantage of this like crazy, getting rid of all their incentives, raising prices to outrageous numbers. And as long as this supply of existing housing stays squashed, prices are not coming down, especially not coming down 25%. People are not desperate to sell in this market. So real estate, I wish I had a crystal ball and could tell you exactly what was happening, because then I could predict my own income. But, well, we're going to watch it and keep you guys posted. Let's talk for a few minutes about Powell here. Tomorrow's a massive day for this market. Powell, to his credit, has telegraphed everything the Fed was going to do, and has pretty much stuck to exactly what he said he was going to do. There haven't been very many surprises. The only surprises I've really seen are the market interpreting things the way they want to, and then being disappointed when Powell actually stuck to what he originally said he was going to do. So, Powell's speech tomorrow it's going to be on 10 o'clock, roughly 10 o'clock Eastern time here in the U.S., 7 o'clock Pacific time. I'll be watching that at 7 in the morning. So what do you think we can expect? Well, remember Powell's promise back in the day when this inflation thing first started, became the big topic. He talked about, after the transitory and after all that crap, talked about some pain to bring inflation back down. Well, I think, guys, here comes that pain. Because I got to say, so far, in spite of what high rates have done to real estate, it's been a pretty painless fight for most people, from 9% top inflation down to 3% where we are now, right? So I think Powell's likely going to talk and emphasize the commitment the Federal Reserve has to finish the job. This political cliche, right? We've had the march of the mediocrities here this week, right? You had Daly and all these different Fed people out there talking about, everything's still a little too hot. We may need further rate increases to bring inflation to our target. Rates may have to stay higher for longer. So they're kind of setting the table for Powell's speech tomorrow, right? Now, most of these yo-yos come out and they talk, but it's more to confuse than to clarify. I think tomorrow we'll get that clarification from Powell, right? Now, he'll probably give the markets an idea of what in the heck is going to expect coming forward. He's telegraphed everything so far. I estimate, now that's the question, is will he be, sound like the job is done, Powell, or will he sound like we got a lot more work to do, Powell? I'm thinking it's going to be a hawkish speech. I'm thinking the market is going to react pretty negatively to it, as it's preparing to do today here in these numbers, right? Now, I think he's going to kind of, like I said, the emphasis is going to be on finishing the job and doing whatever it takes to finish that job. But we've got to remember, these markets are going to interpret what Powell says any way they want. So even if Powell does come out and sound extremely hawkish, there's no guarantee the markets are going to interpret what he says, even if it's plain English, that he means what he says, right? So I would tell you now, prepare for a pretty volatile day in these markets tomorrow, and especially going forward as they start to interpret what Powell said, and if they release any minutes from any of this stuff at this symposium. It's going to be fascinating, fascinating stuff, guys. I tell you, I don't see this perfect scenario, this Goldilocks scenario playing out. I tell you, prepare for some rocky times coming, because any setback in this plan that we've been hearing, the bringing it down to 2%, and here's how we're going to do it, and blah, 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 and now we're to the end of the cycle. Well, guess what? If there's anything goes wrong, spike in numbers, inflation, a big issue with oil, food, the war in Russia with grain and export prices and all kind of stuff that could change like that and change scenarios like that. What are the chances nothing goes wrong versus the chances of something going wrong? So I got to tell you guys, prepare for the worst while at the same time hoping for the best. That's what I plan to do. It's going to be a crazy, crazy day tomorrow. I can't wait to do the show tomorrow to bring you guys what I took out of the speech. So I'm sure there's going to be some good one-liners in there. Everybody will be talking about it. So we'll be back tomorrow to bring you guys the news you need. That's it for the day, guys. We appreciate your support. We really do. If you have a second, please hit the like button if you like what you're hearing. It changes the algorithms around, helps get our video out in front of more people. We appreciate that. As always, hit me up with your questions and comments. And we'll be back tomorrow to bring you guys the news you need. Until then, thanks, guys.